Hi, class of 2021. It's really great to see all of you here tonight. Can you hear me? Okay. I do want to emphasize what Mr. Thiel says. You're about to enter the longest stretch of time you will be associated with Tilton, and it gives me and Mrs. Sedgley a great opportunity to get to know you beyond the hill. I certainly don't get to know you as well as I would like to, and I look forward to hearing from you guys and maybe seeing you out in your worlds and finding out what you're up to. So I really do hope you stay in touch with us. And I also want to let you know that you can actually give us that information now. I sent out a survey last night, and please fill it out. We'd love to have your personal email and your cell phone so we can keep you up to date on what's going on outside in the world when it comes to Tilton. So please fill that out. Our first speaker, Kelly Shen, graduated in the class of 2013. She actually attended Tilton on a scholarship offered by an alumnus of the school, and through him experienced firsthand the power and joy of staying connected with one's alma mater. After Tilton, Kelly double majored in computer science and math at MIT. She now works as a senior data engineer at fintech startup Button, where she works on data infrastructure and platform. Before Button, she worked at Etsy for 2.5 years, specializing in designing the e-commerce company's in-house A/B testing platform. Kelly is an active alumna volunteer of both Tilton and MIT, serving on Tilton's Young Alumni Council and as a board member of the MIT Club of New York and the Association of MIT Alumni. Kelly lives in New York City with her pet bunny, and she enjoys reading, writing, drawing, and catching up with friends in her free time.
Dear class of 2021, faculties and friends, good evening. Welcome to the annual 100 Days Dinner. My name is Kelly Shen, class of 2013. Thank you so much for having me. It really is an honor and pleasure for me to be here with you tonight, even just virtually. I remember my own 100 Days Dinner and what a milestone it felt like. Tilton School has changed my life in every way imaginable. Over 12 years ago, I was half a world away in my hometown of Shanghai, China, preparing for the highly competitive high school entrance exam. Then, one day, I received a phone call from a charity foundation that I had been involved in since I was a little girl. They told me that they would like me to meet with an American businessman and told me to bring my art pieces. I've always been quite an artist, and to be ready to talk about myself. Little did I know that I was meeting with Mr. Chris Birch, Tilton class of 1972, who was hoping to sponsor a Chinese student to attend Tilton. And the rest is history. My years at Tilton were filled with transformative experiences. Along with many ups and downs, I built incredibly close relationships with mentors and friends who remain my rocks. There have been too many times when I felt afraid of difficult situations, and I remembered 15-year-old me starting a new life at Tilton and was suddenly filled with courage. I started thinking English for the first time, played field hockey for the first time, tasted chicken pot pie for the first time, fought with girls over laundry room for the first time. The list goes on and on. Nothing has compared to my time at Tilton this far, because I quite literally left a world that I knew and entered one that was unknown to me. All of these wonderful experiences that changed my life would never have been possible without Tilton alum donor Mr. Chris Birch, and I remain in awe of his kindness and generosity every day. In the years following my Tilton graduation, I continued to experience the joy of staying connected with friends from Tilton and meeting alumni in new places. Once in New York City subway, someone spotted my Tilton lanyard and screamed, "I went to Tilton too, I play basketball." And the joy of contributing to the well-being of the school in various ways. I feel like I'm paying forward the love and support I had received from the school and the alums before me. So, when a group of young alums graduated after 2010 were brainstorming the formation of a Young Alumni Association, I joined them without hesitation. Today, the association is up and running, and we would love for you to join us. Together, we would like to continue friendships and foster new connections, share and learn from each other's expertise, be a source of support to each other and for the school. Lastly, I would like to take this opportunity to offer a sincere congratulations to you. We all know it hasn't been an easy year, and I am so proud for what you've accomplished. I'm also certain that the Tilton experience has prepared you well for what's to come next. The Tilton experience doesn't end with commencement. I think graduation only marks the beginning of a new chapter in your Tilton connection. I hope you would join the alums before you to make Tilton an even better place for future generations. On a personal note, I would like to say to Tilton, Mr. Chris Birch, the Dirigos, the Clements, the Hollingsworth, Mr. Honor, Mr. Gold, Dr. Allen, Mrs. Love, Mr. Landrush, Mr. Ruggles, Mr. Eric O'Neill, Mr. Garvey, Mr. Nielsen, Mr. Gilpatrick, Miss Whitney, Miss Miller, Miss Partridge, Doc Wong, and too many other teachers and staff who touched my life and guided me through the most formative years of my life. I am so grateful to have been your student. You will always have a very special place in my heart. Forever Tilton true. Thank you very much.
So I'm going to introduce our next speaker. You probably all remember Jamie Cates, class of 2020. He's currently finishing up his freshman year at Williams, and he really misses the Hill a lot. He's got great memories of being a head proctor, ambassador, and especially captain of the varsity hockey team. He sends his very best to you guys, and congratulations on your graduation.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to try and keep this short. I know watching me on this screen right now is probably as awkward as it is for me to talk to my computer in my empty room. And now I won't want to be that alumni that comes back and talks about how life-changing Tilton was, but I am going to be that alumni because it really was life-changing for me. It introduced me to some of the greatest people I'll ever meet, and I honestly wasn't even supposed to come here in the first place. For those of you who know me well know that my mom is the ultimate helicopter parent. She always made sure to track me to make sure I was safe, and I'm from California, so obviously moving 3,000 miles to Tilton wasn't the easiest pitch I've ever made, but it worked, and she ended up letting me come to school here. But in those 3 years that I was there, I was able to completely reshape myself, and it created some of the most fond memories I ever have, from our campus-wide capture the flag to our beloved basketball league that I formed with Jamie Goldman, to winning our first New England championship in 17 years. It was the greatest time of my life. And unfortunately, it was cut short due to the pandemic, which honestly was a blessing in disguise. But the last memory I have on campus is waking up at 6 a.m., hop on a bus with Coach Richmond and fly to Arizona for our lacrosse trip. And the only other prep team that was there was Proctor. And as much as I hate their guts, we shared a common desire for that extra little week of spring break that every other school had already gotten. But little did we know that extra week would end up being this whole mess. And I don't think if many of us have been to campus since. But anyways, after finishing our trip in Arizona, my parents came to pick me up, and I could immediately tell something was wrong. For those of you who don't know, my mom was diagnosed with colon cancer in 2015 and had been fighting hard ever since. And when I saw her on that trip and hugged her super tight, she felt skinnier than I had remembered. And I came to find out that she hadn't eaten in a few days. So when we got home, we brought her to our hospital in San Diego, where we found out that her cancer had worsened, and it was unlikely she was going to be able to fight much more. That feeling, knowing my mom only had a few months to live, was probably one of the loneliest feelings I've ever had in my entire life. And I kept that hidden from many of my close friends, including those people at Tilton. But thanks to amazing efforts from a few key members of administration, we were able to meet one of my mom's goals in her life, which was to watch me graduate. So after a beautiful ceremony in our backyard, her condition unfortunately deteriorated very fast, and a short 2 weeks later she had passed away. And only then did we really let people know what was going on. We hit it pretty well, but after we told everybody, the outreach we received was amazing. For the next few months probably, my dad and I did not have a day where we were unacknowledged by any friends or family. Whether it was calls and texts from Tilton students and families, or dinners and flowers with people who were nearby, the support was immense. I had alumni who I hadn't even really talked to while I was at school sending me little texts to make sure if I was okay and if there was anything they could do. Just the relationships I had made with people that I didn't even realize were so huge in my life. So I want to take this time to really emphasize the relationships you are making at this school right now. Even though you might take them for granted, these are going to be some of the most important people in your life. And normally at this dinner, it's a wake-up call. You only have 100 days left of high school, so you have to make some memories. And obviously, that's not the case here. You only have a quarter of that time. So if I took one thing from Tilton, it would be that I developed a second family on the East Coast, and I could always count on them for support. So take this last month or so. I want you to really try and focus on spending time with people, because a year from now, you really don't know if you're going to be seeing them that often. So you're always going to remember that time you spent together, and you're going to cherish it. I'll leave it at that. Thank you for your time, everybody. I hope you guys enjoy this last month, and I really hope to see you guys after graduation.